Are you ready?
Chair Sutton and members of the commission, we are now live.
Good evening and welcome to the July 27, 2022 meeting of the Montgomery County Historic Preservation Commission. My name is Bob Sutton and I'm the chair. And I would like for the commission members and staff to introduce themselves, starting on my left.
Zara Nasser.
Is Commissioner Doman.
Karen Burdett.
Marcia Barnes.
Mark Clements.
Cristina Arado.
Jeffrey Haynes.
We couldn't hear.
We
couldn't hear him.
Jeffrey Haynes is coming to us remote.
Rebecca Ballo, Historic Preservation Staff.
And Michael Kine, Historic Preservation Staff.
Thank you. The first item of our agenda tonight is hearing cases, historic area work permits that we believe can be expedited. I'm sorry, is there? Have they been advertised?
Yes, they were advertised in the July 13th edition of the Washington Times.
Thank you. So is there anybody who is here to testify against any of the following projects? Number 1B at 7105 Sycamore Avenue, Tacoma Park. 1C at 3427 Olney, Laytonsville Road, Olney. Number 1F at 3932 Washington Street, Kensington.
Mr. Chair, hearing no objections, I move that we approve the following historic area work permits in accordance with the staff reports based upon the record before us and in consideration of the recommendations of the local advisory panels, including the recommendations or the conditions recommended by staff. Hop number 997771 at 7105 Sycamore Avenue, Tacoma Park. Hop number 997631 at 3427 Olney, Laytonsville Road in Olney. And hop number 998984 at 3932 Washington Street, Kensington.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Is that an aye in favor? Thank you. This is this passes unanimously, and thank you so much for putting together projects that can easily be approved by us. Now we will hear another project. This is project number 1D at 10310 Freeman Place, Kensington. And I believe that we have a staff report on this project.
Yes, we do. Thank you. So this is 10310 Freeman Place, Kensington. This is a primary one resource in the Kensington Historic District. It's a colonial revival / Queen Anne, circa 1895. And the proposal is to construct a shed in the southwest corner of the lot. The applicable guidelines are the approved and adopted amendment to the Master Plan for Historic Preservation, the Vision of Kensington, Montgomery County Code, Chapter 24A8, and the Secretary of the Interior's Standards for Rehabilitation. The subject property is a large American four-square house with clapboard siding on a corner lot. In the southwest rear left corner of the lot, there are two non-historic sheds. Staff previously approved the demolition of these two sheds at the staff level, which is allowed under the executive regulations for 24A. In the southwest corner of the lot, 5 feet off the rear and side property line, the applicant proposes to construct a new shed. The proposed shed measures 10 feet by 14 feet with an architectural shingled gambrel roof, T111 siding, and a pair of wood doors flanked by 4/4 sash windows. Additional 4/4 windows will be installed on the gambrel ends. The Town of Kensington has reviewed and preliminarily approved a shed permit for the proposal. Staff finds the location of the proposed shed is appropriate. As a corner property, there is not a location where the shed will not be at all visible from the public right-of-way, but this location is far enough from the street that it will not visually compete with the significant historical features. Additionally, staff finds the design and materials are acceptable for the district. The engineered wood siding will weather and can be painted to protect its surface, and the architectural roof can be replaced with asphalt shingles. Staff finds that the shed will not detract from the character of the resource and can be removed in the future, returning the property to its existing appearance. So staff recommends that the HPC approve the proposal under the criteria for issuance in Chapter 24A8B 1, 2, and D, and with the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation, number 2, 9, and 10. And with that, I'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff? Commissioner Barnes?
Just to be clear, the staff approved the removal of, I believe, 2 sheds in this location, and that was because their condition had deteriorated. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, that proposal fits within the criteria for staff level approval.
No, I understand that, but there were 2 sheds
Right.
kind of in this same location.
Exactly, yes.
And they were in terrible shape, so that's one of the reasons their removal was approved.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I would invite the owner, and I believe I have the correct name here, Daniel Martin. If you could come forward, sir, and state your name for the record. And there's a microphone there. There's a button on the microphone. If the light turns on, that means the microphone is on. Thank you. And you'll have 7 minutes. And you have a choice. You can answer questions. You can do a presentation, but you'll have 7 minutes.
I'm Daniel Martin. I'm one of the owners at 10310 Freeman Place. Can you hear me, by the way? Is that good? Okay. We are just requesting to remove, which we've already removed, the 2 failing sheds and replace with 1 larger shed that will replace the storage capability for our some outdoor and yard material, as well as some tools. Otherwise, some landscaping was changed, which was just moving plants. So far, all of the plants have been saved. We've kept all the bushes, just relocated them slightly to the exterior of the footprint for the shed, and anything else that couldn't fit around it has been moved to other parts of the yard. And any questions, I'm happy to take.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Barnes?
So the photo in front, or the drawing in front of us shows this sort of gambrel roof shed, and it appears to have lighting in it. Are you having electricity installed, or it's just a shed?
At least with the initial install of the shed will just be as is. There's no lighting inside. I think the program that they used to build the design actually makes it look like sun's reflecting off the windows.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The hope is in the future that we will have electricity in there so that I can run charge the electric lawn tools.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Martin? Thank you, sir. Now we have, I believe, someone online, Adeline Louis. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And you are welcome to testify, and you will have 3 minutes.
Adeline, are you still there?
I'm sorry, I was trying to find the unmute button.
Thank you. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. And again, I believe your name is Adeline Louis. Is that correct? Am I correct with your?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and you'll have 3 minutes.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Adeline Louis, and if I may, I'd like to read my statement so I can be sure to come in under the 3-minute allotted time.
You're welcome to do so.
When I moved to my home in Kensington more than 20 years ago, I was attracted in part by the importance of greenery and the philosophy of maximizing and preserving foliage in the spirit of London's Kensington Gardens, while minimizing any impermeable footprint. However, I've noticed many changes over the years at 10301 Freeman Place, and not necessarily for the better. Most recently is the question of a storage shed. There were 2 sheds along the south border of the property. Mr. Martin is in the midst of erecting a much larger, more obtrusive structure, more than twice the size of the 2 sheds. He states that the old sheds were in disrepair. Perhaps they were. I feel the most logical thing causing the minimal disturbance would be to install a single replacement shed at that same location, but no larger than the combined footprint occupied by the old sheds. This would avoid disruption to the existing plantings, but apparently too late because Mr. Martin was in such a hurry that he's already dug and laid the foundation for the shed yesterday. I didn't realize that he had saved the plants because I was about to criticize that he had destroyed the shrubbery, so good for him. But I do want to add that there's been probably a loss of a half a dozen large mature trees over the past 20 years. And I suspect the HPC does not know about that. So I can tell you in detail which trees were removed. Note that 10 by 14 feet, which is the size of the proposed shed, approaches the size of a moderate bedroom, more than just a room for a lawnmower and a rake. And it has 4 windows and a gambrel roof. The company's website actually calls this model a mini barn, not a shed. It is difficult not to imagine that this mini barn could one day be transformed into a bedroom or a playroom. This may not be the immediate declared intention, but it seems an obvious eventual next step. We have another neighbor who already inhabits a similar shed, complete with heating, AC, fridge, furniture, and a TV. Placement of the shed is a big concern of mine. A previous survey of the property line questions whether the recent picket fence is even located on the appropriate side of the property line. And I fear the same sloppiness will apply to this shed. What we measured this morning is significantly less than 5 feet from the foundation edge to my fence. And I was under the impression that the setback for sheds is defined as 5 feet. So in conclusion, I object to this oversized mini barn being constructed too close to my property line and suggest a modest neutral colored shed in the same location as the previous sheds is actually the environmentally most responsible choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Louie? Any discussion on this project? Take your time.
May I just-
Commissioner Barnes.
Ms. Louie, this is a question for you. We often hear from the Kensington Local Advisory Panel with their concerns about trees, and I wonder if you've had any communication with them, if you're concerned about the loss of trees over time. And if not, and you are concerned, I would encourage you to become familiar with that group and let them know of your concerns.
So when these trees were removed, I'm sorry, would you like to continue?
No, it's fine. I'm looking for the LAP's comments, that's all.
Okay, so when the first tree was removed, I didn't know anything about the LAP or the HPC, and I did mention to Mr. Timmerman, I said, I think, you're in the historic district, you have to speak to somebody about that, and he was not interested in doing so. Since then, I have learned about the LAP, but I didn't know exactly what there was to do, because I understand the LAP has no power except to advise, correct? They cannot enforce.
The LAP does serve in an advisory capacity, and because they are close to the neighborhood, we on the HPC give great deference to their comments and their recommendations.
Okay, so you would suggest I speak to the LAP now about the trees that I'm referring to?
it's a little late if the trees are gone. I'm suggesting that since you seem to have a concern about trees, you could avail yourself of their expertise about trees in general in Kensington, and pointing out to you that they do not have enforcement capacity, as you said, but they do serve an advisory function, and we are instructed to give great deference to their recommendations and comments.
Okay, well, the reason I brought it up is originally I thought Mr. Martin was going to destroy the shrubs, and I'm glad that he didn't. So that's where the trees were going to be, related to. However, I was hoping that even though the trees were taken out, some of them many years ago, that somebody could recommend that replacement trees be made even now. It's better late than never.
Well, talk to the LAP about it. But I wanted now to come to the recommendations of the local area advisory committee, and they are supportive of the shed and supportive of the shed in its current proposed location, and indicate that they think it is the appropriate location in terms of visibility, et cetera. So I just wanted you to be aware of that if you weren't.
No, I wasn't aware of that. I just didn't understand why the shed couldn't be placed in the position of the original shed, since that, footprint had already been taken up.
And that's not a question I can answer. That is a question that is perhaps for the homeowner, but I wanted you to be aware of the LAP and of the possibility of speaking with them about issues in the future.
Okay, do you know who the head of the LAP is at the present time?
We can have staff
You can
provide
get
that
that.
information.
Yeah, it's a lady named Helen Wilkes, but you can get the information from staff.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Any other discussion?
Could I ask if the color is going to be this blue, or is it going to be a more neutral color?
That is not something that we can answer.
The color of the sheds will be close to the blue color you see on the
The
screen.
color will be close to the color that you see on the screen. That's from Mr. Martin. Thank you.
Can it not be made a more neutral beige color so that it fits in more with the environment as opposed to shouting out loud, "Here I am"?
We have a proposal in front of us, and we are in the process. We shortly will vote to approve or not approve, and it will not have anything to do with the color except what's on the screen.
Okay. Then there's nothing more for me to say then.
Mr.
Oh,
Chair,
but I did want to mention
Excuse me.
that,
Excuse me. You had 3 minutes plus. If you have something else, make it very quick, please.
I'm concerned that, is the setback supposed to be 5 feet?
The setback is appropriate, or we would not have. That would be an issue that would be raised to us.
But what is it defined as 5 feet?
Can staff answer that?
Yes, in most locations in the county, the setback for accessory structures is 5 feet from the side and rear property line.
Thank you.
Okay, so the foundation is less than 5 feet. I measured it today.
This is Rebecca Ballo with the staff. Again, if there are any enforcement issues, that will be up for the Department of Permitting Services or the Town of Kensington. So, one property owner going onto somebody else's property without their consent and then presenting information to the commission is not information that I would recommend you all consider this evening.
We are not considering it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Historic Preservation Commission, in accordance with the standards set forth in Section 24A of the Montgomery County Code, approve HOP number 998841 at 10310 Freeman Place, Kensington, site number, let's see.
I think that's sufficient for the.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Clements, I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. This project is approved. Thank you for coming before us and presenting, and thank you for your testimony, both Mr. Martin and Ms. Louie. Thank you. Next on our agenda is minutes from July 13. Is there a motion for the, has anyone read the minutes, and is there a motion?
I haven't seen them.
Did anyone read the minutes besides me? Well, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes, the draft minutes.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Okay. Are there any commission items? Are there any staff items?
No, Chair Sutton.
Is there anything else? If not, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.